Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम.
कैसे हैं आप?
ठीक हूँ, आप कैसे हैं?
ओके मैं भी ठीक हूँ. Now we are starting a new lesson, so it's a very simple and interesting one. Now let's see. I'm just going to share this one. So let me share it first. The slides. Okay. So I
Okay.
hope that now you can see my screen. Can you see now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Please read if you can see what is the topic of the
Yeah,
day.
okay.
Yes.
Inequalities and number properties, data sufficiency.
Okay. Once again, this is all about the inequality and the number properties. So last time we were talking about the number properties, but that was all about the equations. So this time we will talk about the inequalities and the number properties. And once again, we will talk about the data sufficiency. So we have basically the four basic statements, that the statement 1 is true, statement 2 alone is true, both are true, and one either this or that. So we have four type of the options, and we will have to select that on the number properties basis of inequalities. Okay. Now let's see what is the question of the day. This is the question. Please read this one.
Sure. Is x greater than y? Statement 1. X plus y is greater than x minus y. And then statement 2 is x plus y is less than negative x plus y. Or
Okay.
minus x, yeah.
Yes. So this is all about that. Very simple in a sense that if you are selecting two numbers, any two
Right.
numbers. So if one is greater than the other one, then statement 1 says that the sum of these two numbers must be greater than their difference. Are you getting this? The sum is greater
Right.
than their difference if x is greater than y. So
Right.
this statement number 1 alone is true. If we can consider two numbers, if their sum is greater, then their difference must be greater. The second statement
Okay.
is, if their sum is less, then their negative sum, what I mean to say, their negative sum, this is called the negative sum, as negative
Okay.
of the sum is greater. Then their sum is less than their negative sum, or negative of the sum. Are you getting these two statements? Mathematically, these are written.
Yeah.
Statement 1 is that if you are just looking, taking two numbers in such a way that one is greater than the other one, then the sum is greater than their difference. Sum, when you are adding these two numbers, that must be greater than when you are subtracting. And the second statement
Right.
is, when the sum is less, if you are adding these two numbers, sum is less, then that must be less from what? From their negative sum,
Right.
negative of the sum. So these are the two basic statements about this condition of the inequalities. If we are selecting two numbers, one number is greater than the other, so we will have to check all these. So at this stage, it's a very difficult to decide that only
Right.
one statement is sufficient for each and everywhere, for every number. And second statement, still we are not sure about that. So we will have to think about the solution mathematically. We will have to analyze all the conditions, all the situations. We will have to put the numbers. We will have to rethink. We will have to visualize all those numbers which are in this way, that we can make these two statements true are
Right.
all alone, one is holding for each and every number, or we are looking
Right.
for the second one, or their combination will make the sense about the inequalities. But anyhow, I'm sure that problem is crystal clear, and now we are thinking about the solution, that how can we make our choice, because there are four choices, and those are, I am not writing again and again, those are very much clear, that statement 1 alone is sufficient, the statement 2 alone is sufficient, both are sufficient, neither of these are sufficient, either one or the second is sufficient. So these are all the, what we can say, options about this inequality. Inequality is very simple, one number is greater than the other. Okay, now let's see.
Right.
Step 1, please read.
Sure. Step 1. Jot down the answers to these 3 questions before looking at the statements.
Okay, so now we will have to ask the question about these two statements, and we will
Okay.
have to rethink their answer, that what are the possible answer of these basic 3 questions. Now basic 3 questions are those questions which are actually describing their properties when they are in a form of inequality. When the numbers are put in the shape of inequality, they are connected with the inequality sign, so definitely there are basic 3 questions. Now let's see what are those 3 questions we will have to answer. First, look at this. So this is a statement as written at the top, that is x is greater than y. So look at this. If we can see this, so is x is greater than y? We will not even look at the statement while answering the following question. So this is basically, this statement is given, but we will have just to ignore this one, that what the numbers are, how they are interlinked. Are you getting me?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why we will not even look at the statements while answering the following questions. What are those statements? Two basic statements are given, and we will have to ask these type of the question. The question now, when the data sufficient. So first question is, when the data sufficient. So
Right.
it is an is question. Now look at this. Is asking that x is greater than y. So this question, look at this question. Is x is greater than y? It is an is question.
Right.
For any is question, the data is sufficient.
Okay.
When we can answer the question with a definite yes or a definite no. So
Okay.
is, when is there, so the definite answer is yes or no. Is, when there is, the question is starting from this is, the possible answer is yes or no. Okay,
Right.
no explanation, no sentence, no detail, but the simple answer is either we should say yes or no in response of this. If I am saying that x is x is greater than y, you can say yes, you can also say no, because these are the two numbers. You can think about, I am thinking about two numbers where my answer is yes. You can also think about any two numbers where your answer is no. Am I right? Are you getting this?
Right.
So the first question is starting that is x is greater than y? There are two possibilities, yes or
Right.
no. Okay, this is type of
Right.
the question. I'm sure you are with me. It's a
Yeah.
very interesting. The next is, when is it an yes and when no. So when is it an yes and when no. So is this question the answer is yes when x is greater than y. So
Right.
if you are considering two numbers where the x is actually greater than y, the answer is yes. Is this question?
Yeah.
The answer is no when a is less than y or when b is x is equal to y. Now look at
Right.
this. These are the two statements. So mathematically, if you are looking these two statements, so the answer is yes in this case. If x is greater than y. So in this question, the answer is no when x is less than y or x is equal to y. In both the cases, the answer is no.
Right.
Are you getting this?
Yeah.
We
Yep.
should say yes when it is absolutely greater than y. If they are equal, we should say no.
Yeah.
If this is less than, once again our answer is no. So for yes, we have only one option, that must be greater than y. For no, to give the answer in no, so that must be less than or equal to. Are you getting this? There are two possibilities, A and B. If you are saying no,
Right.
okay? Are you getting this? Because for
Yeah.
yes, we have only one option, that must be greater than. And if we are saying no, then there are two options, that must be less than y or x must be equal to y. I'm sure you are getting this point. For yes, there is only one possibility,
Right.
and for no, there must be two possibilities, either less or equal. In both the cases, our answer is no. If you are answering this question, look at this. The question is this: is x is greater than y? If you are saying yes, so that must be greater than y. And if you are saying no, then there are two possibilities. Am I right? Either
Right.
this must be less or this must be equal. Then the two possibilities, less than or equal. So that's why we have the A and B option. Now let's see. What do we know about x and y? So it's an interesting one. What do we know
Right.
about x and y at this stage? No additional information is available about x and y. We are not sure about
Right.
that either they are negative, positive, integers, prime numbers, even numbers, odd numbers, complex numbers, real numbers, perfect square, rational numbers, irrational, whatsoever. We cannot say anything about that. So, no additional information is available about x and y. What do we know? So x and y belong to the set of real numbers. So at this stage, if you are talking about the real number, so real number is a set of the largest number. When there is no complex number, so real numbers can be included. What we can say, the prime numbers, even, odd, each and every number is there in the real number system. So x and y belong to the set of real number. They could both be positive, negative, integers, fraction, irrational, rational, fraction, even, odd, prime, whatsoever. There are so many types of the numbers. So they can be any one of these numbers belonging to set of real numbers. So that was the step one. Now step 2 is, let's evaluate statement 1 alone. Now we will have to look at the first statement, that was that their sum must be greater than their difference. Is it that the statement 1? Can you recall that? What was the statement 1?
I think it was like x plus y is greater than x minus y.
Yes, the sum is greater than their difference. Okay,
Right.
this was the statement, and we will evaluate this statement alone, that all alone this statement is enough or not. So, is x is greater than y? Statement 1 is, if you are saying that is x is greater than y, statement 1 is their sum is greater than their difference if x is greater. So this was the statement 1. We are just analyzing this statement. So this
Okay.
implies that the sum is greater than their difference. This is a statement. So that is, if 2y is greater than 0 or y is greater than 0. What I mean to say, that the 2y, what I mean is the lesser number is twice, that must be positive. And in other words,
Right.
but we can say that y alone must be positive because the sum of these two numbers, so at least x must be positive, then we can subtract this y. If this is negative, this will become the sum. So from here, we should say that x must be positive number, that must be greater than. From the
Right.
statement, we can deduce that y is positive. So from here, one thing is crystal clear that this y must be positive.
Right.
However, no information is available about x and its relation to y. Still we are not in a position to say something about this x. This may be negative, positive, but when this statement is there, so when we are subtracting something, so that must be negative. Then that's why this will make the difference. If you are taking y as a negative, so negative and negative, positive. Once again, we have a sum, but the condition is that the sum must be greater than the difference. For a difference, one must be subtracted, and that must be positive. So that's why we can say y must be positive, but we don't have any information about the x. So hence we will not be able to determine whether x is greater than y. Okay, so
Right.
this is the underlying statement. If we have sure about the y, that must be positive, and we don't know about the x, that might be negative, fractional, odd, prime, whatsoever the number is, but we are not sure about that why either this is a positive or negative. So we cannot say clearly that x is greater than y, because our question is x is greater than y. So y is a positive and we don't have any information about this x. So at this stage, we cannot say that x is greater than y. Okay. Statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Are you getting this? So statement
Right. Yeah.
1 alone is not sufficient because the
Yeah.
sum of two numbers is greater than the difference of two numbers. That not holds true, because we can take any
Right.
example, we can justify
Yeah.
this statement. So this statement 1 is not what we can say
Sufficient.
sufficient. Okay, the next is eliminate choices A and D. A was that the first statement is true, and D is that both are sufficient, either A or statement 1 or statement uh, B. Second statement is true. So this is the option A. Option A was that alone a statement 1 is sufficient, and D was that either A statement 1 or statement 2 is sufficient. Because statement 1 is not sufficient, so we are eliminating the two choices A and D. A, B, C, D. Out of 4,
Right.
the out of 5, the 2 are eliminated. Now we have 3 options. Those options are that B alone is sufficient, both are sufficient, and the combination of these or we can say neither one statement or second statement is sufficient. So we have left only 3 choices to
Okay.
evaluate. Now choices narrowed down to B, C or E, and I'm sure that B is the statement 2 alone is sufficient, C is both are sufficient, and E is that either A 1 or 2 statement is. So we have narrowed down the options to these 3 options. Okay. Step 3,
Right.
let's evaluate statement 2 alone. Statement 1, we have talked about that is a sum. The statement 2 alone, that statement 2 was the sum is greater than their negative sum. Am I right? Can you recall that?
Yeah.
Okay, this was a statement.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this. Is x is greater than y? Statement 2 is that the sum is less than their negative sum, the negative of the sum. So we will have to evaluate this statement. So the first step is that x plus y is less than minus negative x plus y. The positive sum is less than their negative sum. This is a statement. That is twice if you are multiplying, if you are bringing this to over here, so we will get twice. Twice is less than
Right.
0. Are you getting this? Because this is going on the other side, so this will become positive. The signs are changing, as in case of inequality and equations when you are shifting. So I am just bringing this sum to the other side, so this will become 2x plus y. The twice of the sum is less than 0, or x plus y is less than 0. So
Right.
from here we can say the sum is less than 0. If the sum is less than 0, what can we infer about x and y? Any idea about
That
if if
they're
sum
both
is
negative.
both are negative, or yes, or x may be negative because x is a greater one. Am I right? One thing
Right.
you are saying, you are absolutely right, that both are negative. The sum of the negative number is once again a negative. Am I right?
Right.
And the other thing is, if we are considering that x is greater than y, so to get the sum negative, x must be, what I mean to say, negative. Am I right?
Right.
So possibility one, both x and y are negative, what you are saying, and one of x or y is positive and the other is negative. So this was my possibility that x must be greater than, the x must be negative because x is greater than. So anyhow, what is the approach? So we have the two possibilities. If the sum is less than 0, or the sum is negative of the two numbers, then we can say that both numbers must be negative, or any one of these two numbers is negative and the other must be positive. What is the approach?
Yeah.
Look for a count example. Pick two sets of values satisfying the condition in statement 2. If one set provides an answer yes and the other set provides a no, the data is insufficient. What I mean to say, so now hit and trial method is this, that if you are selecting two set of the values, one is satisfying the this statement second, and this statement 2, and the other set is not satisfying this statement, then we should say that this statement is insufficient. Okay.
Okay.
So statement 2 is just, if we are simplifying this mathematically, so x plus y is less than minus x plus y. If we are just simplifying this, bringing things on the right hand side, so we are getting the simplified answer that sum is less than 0. Sum is
Right.
less than 0. The sum of x and y is negative. So both x and y are negative. This was your choice, that if this holds true, then both must be negative, just to satisfy this condition, because sum of the two negative number is always negative. So let's
Yeah.
see. So this is the hit and trial method. Let's see, we are selecting that x is negative and y is negative, so their sum is also negative. You can see this.
Yeah.
Okay, we are selecting both the x and y negative, and we are getting the sum negative also. Satisfies statement 2. So this set of data, when you are taking x is minus 2, y is minus 3, so it's satisfying this statement. That was the second statement in simplified form. This is, so satisfies statement 2. Yes. So Answer is yes, this x is greater than y.
Yeah.
Now, if we are just set 2, if we are replacing the values, what I mean to say, x is minus 3, y is minus 2, then their sum is once again minus 5. So in this way you can see, look at this, now which one is greater than? Now here you are saying that x is greater than y, but from here you will get this set also satisfy the statement too. Although
Right.
the answer is same, but the x is less than y. Okay, look at this. In this case, x is less than y because the negative number, oh, it's gone. The net has gone. Light has gone. Anyhow, I'm just okay. So let's see statement 2. This set also satisfies statement